Hi, welcome to my life. This is my road, this is my town, and this is my book. If you have a minute, let me explain my story and characters. Hi, and welcome to Buds, a book that offers a grounded, real-world view of what it means to grow up in a town shaped by multicultural life, long before anyone tried to define it for you. The characters don't debate identity. They live it daily and unremarkably through friendship, work, humour, and shared pressure. This is a story about people who learned how to coexist naturally before being told what to think or how to feel about it. By focusing on lived experience rather than commentary, Buds captures a version of modern Britain that is familiar, complex, and rarely written from the inside. So, let me introduce the book. It's a concise novel of under 60,000 words, deliberately shaped as a true weekend read. It is a complete, self-contained story with a clear beginning, middle, and end. There's no homework, no forced cliffhanger, and no obligation to read anything else to feel satisfied. You can pick it up, read it straight through, and step away having experienced the full emotional arc. Entertained, unsettled, warmed, and altered. Buds is set in Blackburn, a town where the writer has spent most of his life. Each character is rooted in real people, friends, family, and figures encountered along the way, shaped by lived experience and refined with a careful touch of artistic license. The result is a warm, grounded ensemble story that reflects everyday multicultural Britain as it was actually lived, not explained. In tone and heart, it sits alongside character-led British classics like Four Weddings and a Funeral, Love Actually, and Notting Hill. Stories driven by people first, place second, and humour woven through real emotion. Before introducing the cast and the story itself, it helps to explain where this book comes from, not as a plea, but as context. Buds was written by someone with ambition, imagination, and long-term intent, but without the safety net that makes creative risk easy. Circumstances shaped the route, not the resolve. The result is a novel designed to stand firmly on its own, complete, self-contained, and fully realised. At the same time, it is deliberately positioned as a first step. The book quietly establishes the foundations for a wider creative world without leaning on it or demanding future commitment from the reader. The broader project has been developing in planning and writing for years, with focused work over the last 4, and Buds is where that work meets the public. If the launch succeeds, it doesn't change the nature of this book. It simply opens the door to what comes next. A larger narrative built patiently, deliberately, and with purpose. Let's take a look at the characters who shape this story. It's worth noting that these characters are composites, drawn from over 30 years of lived experience, rather than based on any single individual. While the emotions and dynamics are grounded in reality, the story itself is entirely fictional, as are some of the locations and events. Dave, nicknamed DJ, he lives for music, always has. Dreams of making it big one day, but for now it's his bedroom and the odd wedding that keeps him fueled. Ali, we call him Danish, always skint, never bothered. Level-headed most of the time, but the word commitment scares him, being the only boy in the family he is under constant pressure. Lives in the long shadow of an uncle back in India who Ali insists is a famous Bollywood star. Bryn, aka Gopher, can get you anything, as long as you don't ask how, under his mother's watchful eye. If it wasn't for use, his mother would let he leave the house. The only one out of the lot of us that has a car, even though it's bright orange. Uday, he thinks he's a natural fixer. One of 5 brothers, he never quite able to escape the weight of responsibility. But he tries. Even though his father tried to instill some into him, it's an uphill battle to say the least. And then there's me, Sarah, the only girl in the clique, born and raised on June long before she understood what that meant. My dad is a devoted Frank Herbert obsessive and an extra in the 2000 June miniseries. Yes, it's safe to say there is only one topic of conversation in our household. So there you have it, the team. So how did it all start? After growing up together, living out of each other's pockets, we somehow all ended up landing jobs in the same factory. For a while, life couldn't have been more predictable or more perfect. Then it ended. They called it redundancy, but it felt more like a kick in the, well, it hurt, put it that way. One last meal before the door slammed shut. We were sacked. Our comfort bubble burst. And whatever we thought the future looked like vanished overnight. And so after weeks of endless nothing, one of us had a crazy idea. Follow us as we dive headfirst into chaos, barely stay ahead of the law, and build our way toward freedom. Each of us driven by different reasons, different pressures, and different end goals. Down, angry, and feeling sorry for ourselves, we came up with what we thought was a foolproof plan, a simple idea to get us back on our feet. What could possibly go wrong? Follow us as we dive headfirst into chaos, barely stay ahead of the law, and build our way toward freedom. Each of us driven by different reasons, different pressures, and different end goals.